Hey everybody, what's good? What's going on? JB here with another CyberInsight live stream. Today we are going to be talking about one of the new certs that I'm looking at studying up and taking the exam for, and that is the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Cert. As you've known from kind of some of the previous videos that I've done, I've put out a lot of different cert practice test videos, and then normally after I go through the process of taking the exam, I kind of will do a wrap up and video, and I'm going to do the same thing with the CCP. But today we're actually going to be going through and doing a practice test through a learning or study program that I've signed up for with Exam Pro. Andrew Brown is the owner of that, and I've been really happy with the program. Actually, it's been great, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So I asked him if it was okay if I could run through one of his practice tests within the program. He gave me the thumbs up. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to put a link for his website down in the description below. You can go check it out. He actually has training programs for almost every type of cloud certification that you can think of. I mean, so today we're talking about AWS, but he also has Google and Microsoft and some other ones. So definitely go check that out, especially if you're looking at some of the more advanced certs. We're going to dive in and take a little bit of a look at his website and what he has today, but really the main focus is going to be on the practice test. But once I go and do an exam wrap-up video, after I passed a cert, then we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into what he offers on his website, because I think it's great for people to take advantage of that. And if you're following me on Twitter, then you saw that today I did a giveaway and hooked 13 people up with some vouchers for the CCP learning program that he has, thanks to Andrew. So yeah. All right, well, we're going to hop over into the practice test and kind of go from there. Before I do that, though, as always, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. You know how it goes. So let's see, we're going to hop over here. And as always, if you have any questions while we're going through this, throw it in the chat and we'll kind of hit those up as we go along. So this is actually the layout of the website where the training program is. Kind of has a breakdown of all of the different topics and stuff like that. Each of those have their own videos. And then the thing that actually attracted me to this course compared to some other ones is that he actually has labs that you go along and do those as well, which I think when it comes to learning anything, having hands-on labs is definitely the way to go. So we're going to go down here and take a look at the AWS, or Amazon, I should say, actually just updated the CCP very recently. I think it might have been in the past couple weeks. And so Andrew's actually put together some new practice questions that kind of reflect the changes in the exam. And so that's actually what we're going to be doing today, is his new practice exam for the program. We're kind of, in a way, doing a little bit of quality assurance on this exam, because I think he actually just wrapped up putting this together sometime in like the past hour or so. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll kind of go from there. If you remember kind of some of the other practice exam walkthroughs that I've done, I normally will go through each question, tell you, at least from my perspective, why I think I'm going to choose the answer that I'm going to pick, or more importantly, why I'm going to not choose some of the other answers. And oftentimes when it comes to taking these types of certs, that's really the important thing, is being able to determine which answers are completely out of left field, and you can kind of get those off the board and give yourself a little bit of a better probability of getting the right answer, even if you aren't completely sure when you're making that selection. So if we look at what we have for this practice test, it's going to be 65 questions. And kind of broken down into 4 different domains: cloud concepts, security, technology, and billing and pricing. So we're going to hop into this, go through that. And as I said, if you have any questions or you want to just throw out some answers in the chat as we go through it, then that's cool. And we'll just wait for that to pop up. My internet is a little bit slow today for whatever reason. All right, so, and I think everybody can see that fine. So a company wants to run a development environment for their web application, which is backed by a relational data Postgres. Which AWS service would best meet these requirements? So right off the bat, we're talking about a development environment, which probably means that you don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money on that. AWS Postgres, DynamoDB, and RDS. Well, two of the kind of like fully supported databases, kind of like where Amazon development environment, AWS Postgres, I don't think is actually a real service or anything, but RDS is, and that should have the ability under all of the different types of databases that you can run with RDS. Postgres should be one of those. So we're going to go with that one. Sadly, we're going to have to wait until the end to hit some notification with that. All right, let's see. A site reliability engineer has been tasked with implementing a DR strategy at the lowest cost possible. That's always important when reading through these types of questions, is looking for kind of those keywords. And in this, lowest cost is probably one of that. Which DR strategy would meet this requirement? So backup and restore, warm standby. I think that should be warm standby, not warm standby. Multi-site active and pilot light. All right, so multi-site going to be the most expensive. And then a warm standby is going to definitely have some costs associated with maintaining the services, not having everything else be fully active. So there definitely is some cost associated with that. And then backup and restore, I would say, is going to be the lowest possible when looking at a DR strategy. An enterprise is evaluating whether to adopt AWS to offload most. The enterprise does not have much domain expertise, and they need a point of contact that will help proactively manage their account and connect them with AWS experts, which best describe. So we are looking for somebody who has some technical expertise to be able to help out the customer and kind of manage that problem. Werner Hans Peter Vogels. I think that's the CEO, maybe. If you got a direct line to him, actually, I'm sure that you could get a lot of stuff taken care of. But that might not be your best option with that. AWS technical support is probably going to be a little bit more when you actually have real problems. And a TAM, which is the acronym for Technical Account Manager, is probably the way we want to go with that. Okay. A company needs a dedicated connection from their on-premise to their AWS Cloud VPC, VPC Virtual Private Cloud. Which AWS service requirement? So we're talking a dedicated connection. I believe we're going to be talking about a direct connect, which is pretty much like having a private circuit between your location and AWS. Route 53 is going to be related DNS, Amazon Connect. I'm not quite sure what that is. And VPC peering, I think, is when you're talking about having some ability for different VPCs to talk together within the cloud. So we're going to go direct. An organization wants to build their next web application on AWS. They've decided they should begin the project by purchasing a domain name and then pointing the domain to a static website hosted on S3. Which AWS service can be used to purchase and manage their domain? Last one, Amazon Route 53 is their domain service. So I don't think we really need to do that. I don't know. I don't think that's front, I believe, is their content delivery network solution. So we're going to go Route 53. What is the AWS personal health dashboard? So alerts and guidance for AWS events that might affect a service that integrates with AWS smart bracelets to monitor your health. Now I'm going to say negative on that. Detects database accounts. We're going to say no to that. And provides real-time updates for COVID-19 vaccination status. So I didn't know what that was off the top of my head. Looking at these, I don't think it really has anything to do with actual personal health information or real health stuff. So we'll go alerts and guidance for basic support. What trusted advisor checks are available to the AWS customer? So Trusted Advisor is a service that they have that gives you a whole bunch of different recommendations or lets you know when certain things have happened or are wrong. And there's a few different tiers that kind of come with that. And the basic one has a few different things that are important right off the bat. High utilization might be. I think it would be. And I think that you could maybe say that that would be under service limits. That and then MFA, multi-factor authentication on your root account is definitely one of those. And I know that's one of those because in the labs going through this program, when it can create a root account and set up an Amazon account, it's actually one of the things that pops up telling you you should take care of that. So we will go service limits and MFA. A company needs to securely and quickly transfer 6 terabytes of to AWS from their few key things within this question. We have a amount of storage, which is going to kind of lead us to understanding that there are different solutions depending on the size of the amount of data that you need to do. And then also we're talking transfer storage. So what would we want to do here? So Snowcone, storage gateway, S3, their services for actually moving stuff off-prem fall under, I'm going to get the name incorrect, it has something to do with snow. Pretty much a flatbed, for a lack of a better term. I don't know. A really, really big truck and pretty to move all the stuff out of your data center. But the smallest one, which I think is what this might be in referring to, I believe is Snowcone. And I think that Snowcone was anything under 8 terabytes, if I remember correctly. So, we're going to go with that. Storage gateway definitely isn't it because that's not for transferring storage. That's more for when you want to like organization wants to download a compliance report to attest that AWS meets regulatory compliance before they decide to adopt AWS as their primary cloud service provider. Which AWS service will meet this requirement? I think I actually mentioned this before. AWS Artifact is the service they have that has kind of all of these different reports on their different regulations that they need to meet, depending upon like the country and the type of data that you're storing, you know, so it could be HIPAA, it could be PCI, could be government regulations like FedRAMP. So we're going to go AWS Artifact on that. What is the recommended measure for protecting your root account? Multi-factor authentication for sure. Rotate secret keys. Principle of least privilege. Well, the root account should have access to everything, so I don't think principle of least privilege is going to be it. Delete all access keys. That might be it. Write down your password on paper and store it in a vault. I don't think that it's recommended that you use access keys for the root account, so we will go with that. This here actually is not a horrible option to have if you have a secure vault that you can actually put passwords and stuff into, or let's say you're using some type of password management software, but you need some place to store whatever the password is for the password management software. Always good to have a little bit of resiliency there in place in the event that you forget what it is, or people leave, or something really bad happens. Excuse me. Doing a lot of talking and starting to cough, not good. Let's see. Organization has many departments that run its own AWS accounts. there is a concern that some S3 buckets might be publicly visible, which could result in a data leak. That is, you end up reading about that in the news quite a bit, actually. Which AWS security service can detect publicly facing S3 buckets? Choose to. Amazon Detector, I don't think is that. Guard Duty we talked about before. Is that kind of being looking at different types of logs and alerting? I think kind of like a IDS. I don't think that's it. Macy, I think, is one of the services that they have that scans S3 buckets looking for certain types of things. So we'll go with that. S3 bucket scanner sounds made up to me. AWS IAM Access Analyzer will look at the permissions with different types of things. And I think S3 buckets is one of the things that it will actually look at the permissions on. So I know that for sure, and I'm kind of comfortable with that. So let's go that way. All right. Which of the following compliance certifications attest to the security of AWS platform regarding credit card transactions? Kind of just talked about this when we were talking about the artifact, and I threw out PCI. Now let's see if PCI is here. Yes. So I'm pretty good with going with that. FedRAMP is one of the government ones I think I mentioned as well, but we're going to go PCI. A developer wants to gain remote access to an EC2 instance running Linux without the need for managing a key pair. Which EC2 feature will meet this requirement? Well, that is just what it says you didn't want to use. IAM role, I think, can play into the type of access that you're able to get, but that's not going to actually be what will get you there. Sessions manager, I think, is exactly what we want to use. Because actually, in one of the labs that we went through, we used Session Manager to be able to access instances without needing to use key pairs. So I think that is it. So we will go that, Session Manager. Let's see. A company wants to ensure that termination protection is turned on for all of their EC2 instances. Which AWS service can ensure this configuration remains set and could possibly remediate the issue automatically? So guard duty, I was talking before about it being kind of an IDS thing, so I don't think that's it. Cloud formation, we talked about it being used for infrastructure as a service, so I don't think that's it. IAM role doesn't seem right. So AWS config, I know that we can use that to send out configuration. So maybe we tie this back to some other type of job that runs almost like a cron job to make sure that this configuration is pushed out. Yeah, we'll go with that. Not sure, but I don't like any of those three, so we're going to go with that. What best describes the principle of least privilege? So off the top of my head, principle of least privilege is going to be ensuring that only the minimum amount of privileges is given to a user, so you're not giving root access or complete admin access to somebody who doesn't necessarily need it, and then that will protect against, in the event that their account becomes compromised or they are an insider threat, you can minimize the potential of bad things happening. So let's see. Users should be granted permission to access only specific resource actions to accomplish their tasks. I like that. We'll pick that. Users should always have a little more access granted to them than they need. Nope. Users should submit all access requests in written form so that, paper trail, no. All users should have the same baseline permissions granted to them to use, no. So we'll go with the first one. A company has an EC2 instance running and suddenly the server was terminated. It's suspected that a junior developer may have terminated the instance by mistake. Which AWS service will help determining who's responsible? AWS Inspector, CloudTrail, CloudWatch Logs, Trusted Advisor. Well, it's not going to be Inspector, which I think we use to kind of look at baselines of configurations on devices. Trusted Advisor, we already talked about that, giving kind of like hints for best practices and things like that. So it leaves us with CloudTrail and CloudWatch. And these two can kind of be confusing because they have similar names, right? The differences between that, though, is CloudTrail is used pretty much for monitoring logs related to the AWS services themselves and kind of the API and what happens and what's going on behind the scenes. So if a developer ended up accidentally hitting a button that terminated something, the API would be making those calls and having that happen. So I think CloudTrail is going to be the answer here, where CloudWatch is more, you can forward logs from different instances and other types of services into CloudWatch and create different types of alerts and stuff like that. But CloudTrail is definitely kind of what's going on behind the scenes, and I think that's kind of what we're looking at here. A company needs to run batch jobs a few times throughout the year. These jobs can be interrupted and resumed with no impact on business. Which instance EC2 pricing model is the most cost-effective option? So we have 4 different pricing models: dedicated host, reserved, spot, and on-demand. The most expensive right off the bat is going to be the dedicated hosts. Those are uniquely set aside specifically for the customer, so they aren't using any shared resources or anything like that. Most expensive. The second most expensive is going to be on demand, and that's just you spin it up whenever you want it. Reserved is going to be when you have an idea that you're going to need something long term, and it's going to be just set aside for you. I mean, it's still using shared resources, but it's reserved. You're able to get some price savings with that because, in essence, what you're doing is paying for it, saying, when you sign up for a contract, almost like with your cell phone or your internet, and you're like, hey, I'm going to have this for 3 years. There's cost savings involved there. The cheapest one, and that kind of has the most risk associated, is with Spot. And Spot is pretty much Amazon having extra resources that are available at any time, and they give you super, super cheap pricing for that compared to the others because they don't want to be underutilizing their resources. The problem with Spot is that they then can come and take it away whenever they actually need those resources for something else. But since this is talking about most cost effective and they don't have an issue with it being interrupted and it can be resumed, then I think Spot is going to be what the answer is. A billing administrator has been asked to forecast the costs for the combined costs of RDS, their relational database service, and EC2 instances running in production AWS account for the next 3 months. The billing administrator may need to create an adjustment to the forecast multiple times throughout the month and compile it as a report for the CFO. Which AWS billing service will meet this requirement? So we're talking about forecasting and having the ability to make adjustments multiple times. So cost and usage reports are kind of after the fact, right? After something has already happened. So I don't think that's going to be it. AWS forecast, I don't know what that is. I don't think that that's in regards to billing stuff. So AWS Cost Explorer or AWS budgets. I am not sure. We're just gonna go Cost Explorer. And yeah, I'm not sure. Really could be either of those, I think, in my mind, but we'll just go with the first one. The company has 3 different versions of the web application running a single AWS account. Each version is wildly different architectures and must remain running due to legacy multi-year licensing agreements. The company wants to isolate the combined cost of each version of their web application's infrastructure. Which AWS billing feature or service would meet this requirement? Cost Explorer, cost allocation tags, AWS cost and usage reports, AWS budgets. Three different versions. Different architectures must remain running due to legacy multi-year licensing. All right, so they're probably going to get a one of the contracts, so it won't be on demand. I think maybe cost and usage reports, and you can break stuff up into individual things. We'll see. Enterprise using AWS wants to provide to its billing department a detailed breakdown of the cost and usage of various services. They want the report in CSV file for the month to the current date so they can analyze it within which AWS billing and service, or which AWS billing service would meet this requirement. So actually, I think that might be the cost and usage reports. So I wonder if, I'm going to pick something else on this. Where do we go? Budgets. All right. Sorry, hopping around. What did I pick? Cost and usage reports there. The enterprise is using AWS to provide billing department detailed breakdown. Oh, I already picked that. That was, or no. Isn't that saying the same thing as the last one? We're talking about CSV file and can analyze within Microsoft Excel. Go cost and usage reports again. An organization wants to programmatic observe. I think that should be programmatically observe if pricing information for various EC2 instance sizes changes within their region. How would this organization accomplish this? So we're talking about using some type of coding for this. So we got the pricing API, pricing SDK, pricing calculator, and AWS budget. So I think the key thing here is talking about using a program with coding to be able to do that. So either API or SDK. I don't think there's a pricing SDK. There's an overall SDK, but with pricing, I think we're going to be talking about using the API to be able to query things when stuff changes. So we'll go with the API. In order to use CloudWatch alarms to monitor billing information, what two things must you do? This is actually a good question that points back to some of the labs that were within the course. So I actually know this because we did this. So you want to create a billing alarm, and then you want to enable billing alerts. It's pretty straightforward. We're not going to create a budget. We don't need to enable the cost and usage reports or create a AWS cost and usage report. No, we're going to set up a billing alarm. We're going to set a threshold with that for whatever our amount is that we want to see, and then we're going to actually enable an alert for whenever that alarm triggers. A company has been outputting AWS cost and usage reports to an S3 bucket. The CFO has asked for recommendations to use an AWS service for visualization or to visualize this cost data. Which AWS service would be ideal for this use case? So we only have two options here. And Tableau, just because I've used Tableau in the past, I know is not an AWS product, so that would be incorrect. QuickSight is one of their BI products, business intelligence products, so we will go with that. A company has multiple EC2 instances managed by an auto-scaling group and behind an application load balancer. The instances are used to run internal company services, and there are foreseen changes in traffic or usage for the next 4 years. Let me read that again. The instances are used to run internal company services, and I don't know what that's trying to say. There are foreseen changes in traffic or usage for the next few years. Which of the following EC2 pricing models would be ideal to reduce the cost of these servers? So we're talking next few years. I think reserved instances. Spot, dedicated, reserved instances. I think that should be on demand. Yeah, I think that that is going to be the case. Is worth pointing out with the reserved instances, I think that it's a minimum of 1 year. I think they go 1 year and 3 year. So if you know that you're going to be needing it for a certain period of time, but it's less than a year, then I don't think that you can do it that way. So we'll go reserved instances. Which AWS billing services are capable for forecasting cost and usage? Talking forecasting, right? Not reporting on. I think it's Cost Explorer, because I don't think that's has to do with billing. AWS budgets, I don't think does the forecast. I think it's Cost Explorer. I've chosen Cost Explorer a few times, and if I'm wrong, then that's obviously something I need to go back and hit up. What is the advantage of decoupling services versus having a large monolithic application? I mean, just off the top of my head, decoupling services is going to limit the impact of something failing because they aren't tied together. Reduce interdependency so failure does not impact critical service. Oh, I like it. The first one, perfect. Better data flow between IP sockets, improve performance, create tightly integrated application. No, reduce interdependencies so failures don't impact critical services. Perfect. Which of the following benefits would be attractive to a company moving from on-prem to AWS? Flexible, control physical servers, pay up front, cost effective. Well, it would be flexible. They would no longer control their physical servers, so that would not be it. Pay up front, no. So that gets into the CapEx versus OpEx discussion, and no. It would be cost effective. It would be lower total cost, hypothetically. So we'll go that way. Okay, what are 3 factors from the 12-factor app pattern methodology that play a role in designing for failure? Event streams, logs, breakability, disposability, dev prod, parity. Designing for failure. I think you need logs. You need to know what's going on. Breakability? I don't know what that means. Disposability? We'll go disposability. And dev prod parity. You want your dev and production to be as similar as they can be. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure about this one, but I don't know what breakability is. So, yeah, we'll go disposability. Let's see. An organization is migrating their MySQL server, their SQL server to AWS Cloud. However, they've already purchased a software license from Microsoft for the SQL. So the license does not include software assurances. Is it possible for an organization to bring your own license to AWS, and how would they achieve that? Yes, it is possible. Amazon Relational Database Service via AWS License Manager. Well, there it seems like you're paying for the RDS service, where you don't need to do that because you already have the license for the SQL server. So I'm going to say no to that. Dedicated EC2 server integrated with AWS License Manager. I think that since you own the license, you need to have a dedicated instance. So I think that's going to be the answer. Import your license via AWS License Manager. Use any compute that you like. Now, I think you need to have it be dedicated because of the fact that the license isn't going to be shared. Yeah, so I think it's dedicated EC2 server integrated with AWS License Manager. Right. A company is evaluating whether to move its workload to the AWS cloud from on-prem. The CEO wants to understand how moving to AWS will impact their IT team that currently manage their on-prem infrastructure. What will happen to the IT team? AWS does not manage the underlying infrastructure. Your team will work with AWS. Now that's incorrect. I don't even need to finish that. The company's IT team will need to be let go. Whoa. and they will go work at AWS. No, I don't know. AWS will take care of the underlying infrastructure. No. The IT team can be shifted away from managing infrastructure to revenue generating activities. That seems more feasible. They're not going to let go of the entire IT team. All right, 10 more questions. A company has an existing web app running on AWS Cloud within North America. The company has observed an increase in users from Asia. However, due to the distance between the customer and North America, these users are experiencing severe latency. The company decides to launch an identical server within the Asia region to reduce latency. Which benefit of AWS Cloud does this best describe? Economy of scale? No. Agility and the ability to spin stuff up quickly? No. Global reach? Being able to have AZs in different regions around the world, I think is probably it. And high availability? No. We'll go global reach. Which of the following best describes the AWS Cloud benefit of scalability? A company can launch copies of their application anywhere in the world within minutes. I like that. Company offers an application or system that can adapt to increase in demand over time. Don't think that is it. A company's application will have guaranteed uptime anywhere in North America, even in the chance of a single region. No, a company's application can right size automatically to meet the exact demands anytime. I like that better. Yep. Let's go with that one. A startup is adopting a cloud-native approach by building their web application around AWS cloud services. Which of the following cloud benefits will help keep their operational costs low? High availability will not keep it low. Elasticity, the ability to grow and shrink as need be. I believe so. Pay-as-you-go pricing definitely could do that. Economy of scale, I don't really think has to do with that, so we'll go those two. A company is building out a proof of concept on AWS to kickstart their migration to cloud. Previously, the developers would need to submit a request to their centralized IT department to set up a physical machine with a hypervisor installed to utilize virtualization. However, with AWS, they can self-provision resources within minutes. What best describes this cloud benefit? Reliability, no. Global reach, no. Elasticity, agility. I think it's agility, the ability to respond quickly to spin stuff up. An AWS customer benefits from built-in security provided by AWS data centers and networks, which are architected to protect your information, identities, applications, and devices. What's the question? Security is not an offering of AWS. You need to use third-party tool. No. Security is not an essential benefit of it. Security is an essential. I think I will disagree with that. That security is an essential benefit of AWS Cloud. A new company has decided that they will exclusively run all of their infrastructure on AWS. What is the name of this type of cloud deployment model? Cloud first, cloud native, hybrid, or on-prem. So cloud native is, I believe, when you have all of your stuff within the cloud. Hybrid is going to be a combination of cloud and on-prem is everything located within your data center or your location. Yeah, we'll go that way. Which of the following is a significant financial benefit of shifting on-premise data centers to AWS? Capital expenditures upfront costs are lower, adding increased privacy and security as well as computing power. So capital expenditures is kind of like what you have to spend on stuff right away. So yeah, it would be lower upfront because you don't have to pay for the data center, pay for all the equipment that's going in there, pay for all of the IT staff. Places variable operational expenses with lower upfront capex. No, I think that first one sounds good enough to me. A company has an existing on-prem relational database. They want to migrate this database to the cloud and are willing to adopt a NoSQL database in order to gain managed sharing and provision throughput with a guarantee of performance at scale. Which NoSQL offering on AWS would be best suited for this? Managed sharding and provisional throughput. So the two that are managed offerings from AWS is the Aurora and DynamoDB. And I just know off the top of my head that the DynamoDB is a NoSQL offering, so we're just going to go with that. A company is planning to migrate their virtual machines from on-prem to AWS. The company wants to take advantage of EC2 auto-scaling, which will allow them to programmatically and automatically add or remove servers to meet the demand at any given time. Which benefit of cloud computing would this best describe? I believe that would be elasticity, so kind of the ability to grow or to shrink as needed. I'll go with that. Which of the following are examples of CapEx? So we kind of talked about that. Network costs, so you need circuits. Data center costs, you need that. Leasing is not a CapEx. It's not an upfront cost for everything. Billing based on compute metrics, that is not. IT personnel. So network costs, you need circuits. Data center, you need the physical location. You need people to run the stuff. All right, last question. A company has a web application that they determined requires at least 2 running servers to meet their operational performance SLAs with their customers. The company has deployed 3 identical servers across 3 different availability zones in a single region. Which AWS cloud benefit does this describe? Not elasticity, that's not growing. High availability, that does seem like something that's highly available. They have them in different zones. Global reach, it's within a single region, so that's not it. And reliability, I don't think that's the case. So we'll go high availability. All right, let's see how we did. 92. Whew. Cool. All right, let's take a look at which ones we got incorrect. And we'll just click to them. All right, what are 2 ways AWS networking service that can be used to protect incoming traffic? Oh, this was a question where it wouldn't let me select 2. Right, so we'll take that as a note to have that corrected. A company has 3 different versions of their web application running in a single AWS instance. Each version has wildly different architecture and must remain running due to legacy multi-year licensing. And the question was, the company wants you to isolate the combined cost of each version of their web applications. So what could we do here? I chose AWS budgets and it was incorrect. So talk about, you can tag resources. You can use Cost Explorer to view the different cost of those tags. So tag is pretty much labeling different things, and you can kind of group those together. So that would make sense if we wanted to kind of tag the different versions. Yep, makes sense. Which of the following best describes AWS cloud benefit of scalability? I chose a company can right size automatically. A company application can right size automatically to meet the expected demand at any time. And the correct answer is a company offers an application or system that can adapt to the increase in demand over time. So what? The ability to acquire resources as you need them and release resources when in the cloud. Sizing. Right sizing is an IT term meant to right size the capacity of virtual. Okay, so the answer here is a company offers an application or system that can adapt to the increase in demand over time. Fair enough. A startup is adopting a cloud-native approach by building their web application with AWS cloud services. Which of the following cloud benefits would keep their operational costs low? And what was it? I chose elasticity. And yeah, I get why I was wrong with that. Elasticity is the ability to add or remove servers automatically based on metrics, but we're talking about keeping their operational costs low, pay as you go, allows you to only pay for what you're actually using. That makes sense. And this last one, which of the following is a significant benefit of shifting on-prem data center systems to AWS? Upfront, CapEx upfront costs are lower, adding increased privacy and security as well as compute power. Main benefit is to replace upfront. And the correct answer is replace upfront CapEx with lower variable costs. I got so excited with this first one and didn't read the last one. Yep, that makes perfect sense as well. Don't do that. Don't get too excited with the first with the first answer and don't read through the rest. You should always read through the rest. That one makes complete sense as why that would be. Okay, so yeah, I think I think that about wraps it up. That was pretty awesome. I hope that was beneficial to everybody. I hope you go and you actually check out the Exam Pro, the different courses that Andrew has over there. Really appreciate him letting us go through and do this test that I said he literally just put together today, just an hour or so ago, with some updated questions based off of the new exam guidelines that they just put out for the CCP. So kind of focused on some additional stuff that's been added and changed around as far as the different domains and which ones are important and stuff like that. So yeah, I had a great time. It was really, really helpful. Yeah, I think I'm going to schedule my test sometime next week. I'm going to do a few more of his practice exams. Oh, actually, Andrew just hopped on there. Have a few tweaks to make. Yeah, but it was awesome. It was great. A lot of stuff made sense and lined up completely with the training. And especially I liked how some of those were things that you could easily point back to if you went through the labs. They made sense and lined up. So, oh, and I think the other thing I should mention this, once I pass the exam and do kind of like my review video, I'm going to have Andrew on and kind of talk through some of the next steps as far as, what certifications might be the next way to go once you get the CCP. And actually, he just took the new CCP as well, so he might have some additional pointers that might be different from my thoughts after taking the exam. So yeah, but appreciate him for dropping in and letting us use his practice exam. So all right, if nobody has anything else, we went a little bit longer than we normally do. Normally try to keep this to about an hour or so, and we went about 15 minutes longer than that. But yeah, appreciate you checking out the channel. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. It's Friday, so go get at it. Have a good weekend. And yeah, I'll check in with everybody next week. All right, take care. Bye.